Hey, thank you for joining me at the Cleveland Museum of Art, one of my very, very favorite places. And it's been, oh my gosh, the last time I was here was the day before we left for Taiwan, which was kind of fun in and of itself. You know how we talk a lot about circular dating and socializing and building a life that feels like you, which I think is super, 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 super important because of how often we talk about just period dating, dating, period, and how when we can get into the grind of it and feel burnt out by it, the grander scheme of things is not getting burnt out by dating because you're not getting burned out by life. And that perhaps is a feat in and of itself. So the stories that we collect about the places where we go, the stories we collect about the moments that feel good, that are fun, that feel good to share, build on our ability to connect with the world around us. So thank you for joining me, and yeah, stay tuned for my, more of my museum series. If you'd like to watch more of my Jet Set Siren series, stay tuned. Okay, so here we are, and right here you can see her. I don't know, is that her? Is that her? Oh, no. She's a little bit harder to see. She's here. She's right there. Right there, kind of hard to see. I took a video separately so I can zoom in on her. But that is Sekhmet. Sekhmet, the goddess of war, the goddess of passion, the goddess of healing. There are many stories about her, and she's kind of special. She's one of the pieces in this museum. This is one of the pieces that kind of stands out to me and invites kind of a transportation to another time, another place. And maybe that's just my own heart of hearts wishing for this kind of experience. But let me lend you the perspective and see how it feels for you. If you zoom in, and I'm not sure, you know what, actually, let's take a walk. Let's take a walk over there. If you read the inscription that they have on the plaque for Sekhmet, what you'll see is this is one piece of what used to be a full body statue, saying that she should be wearing a tight dress and be in a place of healing, and that this statue was probably commissioned by Amenhotep III, because he's one of the guys that commissioned lots of these statues. So, very interesting. And I mean, there's not a whole lot of the story in it, but if you know the story of Sekhmet, then you may have heard how she was tricked. She was tricked into drinking a river. Okay, maybe I'm going too fast through this, but she was tricked into drinking a river that was spiked with like wine to get her off of a death binge, like, because murderous rage, and if you know anything about Sekhmet, then you know that part of her, like, it's like lapping up the blood and destroying your enemies, and which is kind of an interesting it's kind of an interesting angle to put in the healing process. And yet, I don't know, how often do you equate revenge and war into a healing process? I'm sure it's there. I'm sure it's there, and Sekhmet tells us that it is there. What draws me to her first of all, in this museum is, still trying to put my words together here. When I see Sekhmet here in this museum, and with the paired description saying that, at one time, and all of a sudden I've got some interesting wobbly feelings, that at one point this statue was a full-figured being. And I know it's art, and it's totally fine to be sad over broken art, spilled milk, and whatever. That alone gives me a feeling. Whether it was desecrated by human hands or just the wear and tear of nature. We're looking at a piece that could potentially be, upwards of 5,000 years old. Ancient Egypt was, wow. It was quite the place. And I still don't really have a very clear concept of what this place and time was like. So just borrow this imagery with me, now that you've kind of seen her and we've kind of zoomed in. I'm hoping that you're kind of feeling this, like what it would feel like standing in front of this piece in its full form, right in front of you. Like there's people who came and like worshipped and brought their sorrows. I don't know, this is just like, I want to feel the emotion, but at the same time, like I don't want to, I don't want to just dissolve into emotion. I really want to open that space open. Like what that would feel like. And just the knowing of how many people, theoretically, and in so many hundreds of years, thousands of years, have come and brought their deepest wishes, their greatest sorrows, their feelings of revenge, their need for healing, in front of this statue, or a similar feeling, a very, very similarly designed piece. That kind of awakens a certain aliveness of it to me. So yeah, I wonder, what is this like for you if you choose to kind of step into frame with me and enjoy this? And next video, I want to share what else I've been kind of practicing in this space. But this is the other part that I have been wanting to share. And I think it'll make more sense for like the Reiki community, simply because I'm not backtracking to explain what is Reiki, and maybe that, right? So maybe I will explain a little bit. Reiki is essentially life force energy. It's spiritual energy. Spiritual energy. I think that's the most concise way of putting it. For some reason, it feels kind of strange to say that. It's not new at all. The word itself is translated from the Japanese. And more recently, I've been invited to practice with a Taiwanese group, which just fills me with delight. And so the pronunciation is Lingqi, which I think is just really awesome, because that was my first experience with it. I had a very, very, well, I'll try to condense this. the first time I'd heard about Reiki was from someone in my hometown, and I was just seeing the Chinese characters, and I'm like, Ling Chi, Ling Chi, Ling Chi. What is this? What is this? Come to find out, it's a practice, like a whole discipline, a whole practice that it's not new in by any means. However, the Japanese discipline has gone worldwide in the last 100 years, and it has become very well known for being a way to create peace, inner peace, to relieve stress, to relieve anxiety. There are claims that there are even more amazing claims of like manifesting and healing, like on an extreme levels, and even world peace. So it's quite phenomenal, really. And the idea behind all of this is self-improvement, self-empowerment, healing, cooperation, not being run by anger and the effects of being harmed, in the past, how they say hurt people. Anyway, so fast forward, there, if you've ever seen someone do Reiki, it's you don't need to be touching anything. It can be sent by intent. It can be sent by just your eyes, a lot of the times they'll put their hands out like this and send the energy. So I had this idea. I'm like, you know what? The next time I go to the art museum, I wonder how it would feel to send Reiki to, and the wording here is, it just feels awkward to me, send Reiki to these, it's not just these objects, it's not just I'm going to send energy to these objects, but the fact that, or I'm seeing these objects as anchor points in our world civilization, our world history. So, like, whether or not you believe Sekhmet was a person, was a real creature, or simply the design of an artist and adopted by a civilization. Honestly, I don't necessarily think that matters all that too much. But this idea of feeling anchored in the world, sending good juju, sending good energy to perhaps the past, if you believe that's possible. With so many different relics and so many different feelings that can be invoked through art, I wanted to take this as an opportunity. And as an invitation to, invite you in. So we'll see. I'm like, how am I feeling? And can I do this again in Chinese? I'm not really sure, but it may be fun to see how my Chinese comes out, so I can share it with my Taiwanese group that I've just been enjoying. So thanks for being here.